to pay off for you. So I'm still sticking with my prediction of blank here, but again, I did say at the start of this series it's going to be close. So far it has been pretty close. We'll see what is going to happen now on the attack. It's a bit of a change up. This time we're going to see Melbourne Mavericks start on the attack as opposed to blank. Blank on the defense with, again, an interesting composition. Triple DPS, no double DPS actually it is. So pretty actually kind of standard really when you look at it. It's 2-2-2. But long-range angles being taken with these hit scan snipers. You got Nox on the Ash, you got Roro with the Widow. You got the Mercy to damage boost, probably Nox more than Roro. But definitely a scary prospect for Melbourne Mavericks.
So Melbourne going to change it up. Nami across to the Widow, Mini onto the Wrecking Ball. Let's see if this opens things up and makes life a little bit easier, but already Blank have bought themselves a free 40 seconds. And Roro going to get the better of Nami almost immediately.
Yeah, and that's a nice nerve settler if there were any nerves, but it's also, I guess, a confidence builder is probably a better word for it there for Roro. You know, he gets the initial fight win, and that actually is going to force the swap for Melbourne Mavericks. So far we've seen, what, a minute of gameplay, and Melbourne Mavericks have not even gotten close.
We've seen a minute of game. Seen about 5 seconds of gameplay.
Yeah, you're right. That's what I'm trying to say. That's the point I'm trying to get across. Melbourne Mavericks have really not done anything so far on their attacking side. They haven't been allowed to do anything by Blank. It's not even like Blank is beating them. I almost feel like Melbourne Mavericks are in their own heads right now.
Well, this is exactly what happened at the start of Nepal, Jordan. If you go back to Village, right, it was they didn't make decisions. They were too busy second-guessing themselves, I feel.
Yeah, it's like Melbourne Mavericks saying, "Oh, we don't want to pick the sniper, guys. Don't pick the sniper," and then no one does it.
Yeah. Anyway, Melbourne on to the point. That's a start, but Mini going to go down to Noz. And Roro still with free reign up here on the Widowmaker. Finds one, as does Tung. Another fight win here for Blank, who are now starting to stack up ultimate charge as well. Half the time now already used here by Melbourne, not looking any closer to finding Objective A.
No, definitely not. And quite frankly, Ben, I'm not sure that this is the composition that is going to do it for Melbourne Mavericks. Obviously, you're relying on Nami and Winter to get some damage done to, particularly Roro, keep him busy. But like, how does anyone get through the sidelines at the moment? Like, they've got a Wrecking Ball, okay. He can do whatever he wants, but that doesn't help the rest of the team.
Well, there's no shield to hide behind, and if you're a support, it can be tough.
And 4 balls on the Moira, I struggle to see the effectiveness that he's going to be able to get. The only reason he's playing Moira, by the way, is to survive against the snipers. But how is he really going to get heals off onto Winter, onto Nami, onto Mini? Well,
Mini is so low, even though 4 balls has gone out with the Coalescence. Roro finds 3. That's the full 3 now, as Gusto is picked up in Baby Diva form as well. Melbourne have used up 3 minutes before they get back into the next fight. Blank sitting on 3. Ultimates, Melbourne going to sit on 3 as well. Oh! And Winter gets staggered there, just lurking in the background, waiting to get that EMP up, and we'll have to wait just a little bit longer to be able to use it.
Mini's going to go over onto the Winston. I think that's probably a little bit better than the Wrecking Ball in this composition. Provides a little bit more peel. It does provide that shield for the rest of the team to utilize to get into maybe a closer range. EMP's up now as well for Melbourne Mavericks.
Tung with the Transcendence very early on. The EMP comes out. It hits Mod, and that's it, but that's going to be enough. Jordan Gusto gets 2, as does Noz. Self-destruct's picking up 4 across the board. But Blank going to still be able to survive through this fight. Now there's only 30 seconds remaining.
Good for Melbourne Mavericks.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, sorry, I should say for Blank. Melbourne Mavericks, they invested the EMP in that last fight, and I think that was really their win condition right now. Roro, the infra side on, he knows what's coming. Just back away. Already Mini's down. He's gone on his own.
I don't even know. That timing was a little bit odd. Could have done with the sound barrier as well, Jordan. And this first map, at least the first half of this first map, is going to be over in the 4-minute time frame.
Yeah.
Because Blank, they're going to hold strong. Melbourne unable to even get 1/3 of a tick, and I can't help but feel, unless they're playing goats being goats, they don't seem to know what to do.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's just a case of Blank so strong with these alternative compositions. It totally seemed like Melbourne Mavericks was lost. Like, they had no idea what they were trying to do against Blank there. So many roster swaps. They swapped off multiple different characters, and then when they did push, the coordination wasn't really there between Mini and the rest of the team. And I guess Melbourne Mavericks just made life difficult for themselves, it felt like. But Blank kind of looked too easy for them, really. You know, you see Roro there, you see Nox there. They weren't under pressure at all. They were just sitting back, shooting some shots, having a good time, racking up the highlight reels.
Yeah.
You know, when your two DPS guys aren't under pressure, it makes life so easy for them to be able to just calmly put the damage into their opposition. Melbourne Mavericks had big problems trying to counter that for Blank, which is exactly what we saw on Nepal as well, right? When Blank has the freedom to run the compositions like this, Melbourne Mavericks is not having the answers.
No, it really does seem like Melbourne has been struggling on the alternate team comps, and well, Blank definitely is a team who likes to pull them out when they can, and every time they do, it seems to work. Now it's going to be even worse for Melbourne here, Jordan, because they have to pick a team comp blind.
Yep.
Blank get to come into this with whatever they want, change up almost immediately as required, and they only need to get 33% on this point to find themselves with a map win. And considering how hard fought the previous 2 map wins is, to come up and make it 2-1, only needing 1/3 here on Volskaya, it kind of seems, I don't even know.
Well, Nami lost the Widow battle to Roro. It was a one duel wonder for Roro, but how's he going to go against Tung? That's the next question. Not to mention, well, Tung swaps off anyway, but he's also going to have to try and keep an eye out for Roro on the Farah. He's going to be under pressure from Nox, Noz. Do see some change-ups going out, and it's actually going to be Blank to mirror the composition of Melbourne Mavericks here. So they've got the info that they want, and they just feel confident with the aim battles that they can take here, particularly, I guess, Nox with the Widowmaker and Nami being the important one. There it is.
Go. Nox onto Nami straight away. That opens it up now for Blank. Morton onto the high ground, as will Noz. Roro's a little bit low, so is Nox, but could get healed up here. They need to go and follow this up with a couple of picks quickly, otherwise they'll find themselves outnumbered once again. Tung onto Forbles. It was a little bit slow, but it'll definitely count. Witter finds Kura. There we go. Those are the picks that Melbourne need to be getting.
Yeah, it was a really good counter dive from Melbourne Mavericks. Blank just struggling a little bit when it came to the healing. They couldn't keep their tanks healthy enough, and Melbourne Mavericks sensed that opportunity. Roro around the back, though, will get Winter, and that actually is a big pick because Blake Esports all starting to come off the respawn here. It's 5v6. Winter's going to take a while to get back to the fight. Roro will taxi Kura into the fight, and this is another opportunity for Blank to take an advantageous battle. Oh, no.
The Gusto's going to need to do something huge with this self-destruct, Jordan. That's what I'm thinking right about now. Again, still only looking for that one tick. Self-destruct comes through, won't find anyone. And not only does it not find anyone, but it's going to be Kura who finds Gusto before Gusto gets back into the safety of the mech. Mini pops Primal Rage. Roro sitting in the back line, trying to make life difficult here for Nami on the Widow. Going to make it very tough, actually. And they're looking so close here, Jordan, and that will be enough. Blank grab a win on Volskaya. Yes, Melbourne Mavericks made them fight for it a little bit there at the end, but definitely not enough. You can't afford to give up the first point like they did. You can't afford to not even get 33%.
There's a celebratory Dragon Strike at the end there for Roro. It looked a little too easy for Blank. And the thing about Blank is, like, whenever we talk about how they play, we say DPS compositions, triple DPS, quad DPS, even double sniper in this case. And it seems like every time they play against an opponent, that opponent isn't really prepared for what Blank is running. Like, either they aren't aware, and I find that hard to believe that you wouldn't be aware that Blank is going to be running a composition like this, or that they're just not, they haven't had the match practice against compositions like that, I think is probably more so the issue. So you're only facing Blank once a season. No one else is running compositions like what Blank is.
Well, that's it. Really? Do you even bother trying to get good at it, is the question, if you very rarely see it. You know what I mean? Like, do you only really think about it when it comes time to go head-to-head with Blank? And I guess the other thing for me, Jordan, is if Blank is so much better than you, I feel like you almost just need to try and get them to, like, you don't want to go head-to-head on the same comp, because as we've seen, that doesn't work. So if they're playing these more often than you are, then they're probably going to have an advantage if you go mirror match. So do you then continue to sit on goats, or at least maybe you need to come up with some sort of counter to what they're doing differently, even if you play a similar goat setup with 1 or 2 modifications that seem to work. But I guess, as you said, if they're not playing it very often, maybe it's not something that they're practicing.
Yeah, I don't really have the answers for you. Like, maybe it's not worth it for them to put that time in when they're predominantly 90% of the time going to be facing GOATs. You'd be better off putting the practice time into what we want to do against a GOATs composition. Yep. But look, end of the day, it's working out for Blank. You cannot be complaining about that at all.
Yeah, well, watch point Gibraltar now. This is potentially going to be the last map. Blank on a bit of a roll. They picked up Blizzard World and they picked up Volskaya. Again, they could have been 3-0 at this point if that last fight on Nepal had gone the other way. Or any of the last fights in the last 60 seconds of that map, I suppose.
Yeah, and I don't see a reason why in the first part of Watch Point Gibraltar we don't see Blank picking the double sniper setup once again. We know it works on that part of the map, and it's already quite obvious for me that Melbourne Mavericks do struggle against that. So I expect that's probably what we will end up seeing from Blank Esports here on Watch Point Gibraltar. And in turn, that gives me quite a bit of confidence as well.
It gives them such a good advantage, right? Like, you're already swaying the scale in your favor if you do that.
It's definitely not going to be the double sniper unless you count Torbjorn as a sniper.
Surely we swap off.
No, he's on the defense.
I'm ready.
They're committed.
I'm so ready. What is Melbourne going to play then? That's the question.
Double sniper.
Coming straight out.
What kind of an impact can the turret have?
That is a very good question, Elfishguy.
Quite frankly, I probably would prefer to see the Widow here for Blank in part of the Torbjorn, but we'll see. I mean, I just feel like the Widow's a little bit more consistent with the Torb. Like, Torb can work, but I'm excited to see how it works out.
It's odd to see it coming out on what is really quite an important map, to be perfectly honest, Elfishguy. But who am I to doubt the skills of Blank Esports and Roro?
Definitely is going to make it particularly difficult to dive in on top of this Ash when there's Torbjorn turrets all over the map. Noz does get demeched, however, so that's one small advantage here for Melbourne Mavericks. Problem is, Mini's out of position, gets taken down, Trade's coming backwards and forwards, the rest of the Roro. One more shot onto Mercy, and this fight is over for Melbourne Mavericks, and maybe it already is.
Yeah, can't help but feel, though, that this is a lot of free payload positioning for Melbourne, and they should be pretty happy with what they've got. They need to follow it up with something, but right now it's tough doing on the following.
The thing is, like, getting the payload to here is not the difficulty, it's not the issue. It's actually capping it out. Like, this is where the payload really stalls up. So, yeah, okay, it's good positioning for Melbourne Mavericks, but they've kind of done the easy job, right?
Yep.
And then now it's time to play with the big boys.
Like, hey mate, I got the IKEA furniture upstairs, you can put it together now.
Yeah, exactly.
That was me. Live that dream. Mini on to Roro's turret. Gusto gonna get demeched as well. And Black's gonna follow it up with a little bit more damage. Oh! See you later, Baubles.
Yeah, Nox is having way too easy of a time. Nobody is putting pressure on him, and they can't. They can't even deal with the turret properly. Like, they're diving on top of Roro, but then he's being covered off quite nicely, and even when he does go down, the res comes across, and that frees up so much space right now for Nox. Like, you haven't seen anyone do anything, and that's the dream when you're playing an Ashe, when you're playing a Widow. If you can just sit there and play a point-and-click adventure game, that is exactly how you want to play.
Well, that's it, right? It's almost not like Nox is playing against any sort of opponent here. It's just target shooting. No one's onto him, throws out the TNT. Bob available as well, should someone need to contest on the payload, and that's precisely what Nox is going to do now. He's trying to chase down Fluro, who's popped the ultimate. Gusto finds Roro, but Nox does take out Fluro with Bob. Melbourne finally starting to do work, but it may be too little too late here. 1 minute on the clock. Mini going to get chased out. Nox being kept alive by the Transcendence as well. And that Primal Rage will, of course, dissipate eventually.
Yeah, still a self-destruct available here for Blank as well. So when push comes to shove, when space needs to be created, Blank can do that. It's kind of getting to that point now where I feel like a self-destruct here from Noz won't be a bad idea, and he's actually going to get demeched, forces his hand, and there you go. That's exactly what Blank wants. It just lasts for long enough, the self-destruct is going to have enough of an impact, and it's going to push Melbourne Mavericks back once again.
40 seconds remains. Melbourne really would expect that they can get through the first objective. They certainly will need to if they want to have any hope of bringing this back to Lijiang Tower in the tiebreaker. Right now, Blank looking like they're in the better position. Melbourne struggling to get their ultimates up in time as well. Mini, Baubles, Gusto, potentially the last hope here.
Another Bob available, 20 seconds. I mean, it's not looking good for Melbourne Mavericks at the moment, is it?
throws it out. Anytime there's someone needs to contest on the point, it's going to be Bob who has to do it. And Mini goes down. Nami Fluoro found out as well. Blank in prime position to stop the payload before it gets to the first objective. Things are not looking good here for Melbourne. Winter, the last hope to try and get onto the payload, put it into overtime. But surely that's not going to make that much difference here.
No, it definitely isn't. Okay, Melbourne Mavericks, you need to have a damn good defense now if you want to stay alive in this series.
Yes, and well, we question Roro. It seemed to work.
Yep.
Could it worked as well as an alternative?
I mean, I think they could have probably done the same thing and had a Widowmaker, and it would have worked fine as well. But I do like how that Torb setup worked. You know, obviously, you see Melbourne Mavericks putting a lot of resources in to try and deal with the turret, to try and deal with the Torbjorn, diving into that server room, and that in turn frees up Nox. So you're putting a lot of, not pressure, but you're putting a lot of emphasis on Nox being able to get work done on that Ashe, and he certainly was able to do it. So very good stuff, I thought, from Blank. Melbourne Mavericks now will need to see how they'll choose to defend. If it goes onto a GOATS composition here for Melbourne Mavericks, I'm sorry, but I think it's probably done. Double sniper, I think it's probably done. I mean, Melbourne Mavericks, like, what is the option, really? Like, it feels like anything that they choose here, they're at a disadvantage because Blank is going to be able to just go back in their spawn, swap off. You're probably going to see double sniper or something similar come out from Blank here. And Melbourne Mavericks haven't found the answer to it today.
No, it doesn't appear to be, so we're going to see GOATS coming out with the Sombra on Nami, at least for now. Still got 20 seconds. Changed their minds. Blank, on the other hand, had a very good day today, short of what we saw from them on Nepal. Everything else, look, I guess Blizzard World could have gone either way, Jordan, but Sky was very one-sided as well, and this has been very one-sided so far.
Another pick attempt here for Blank Esports. They're going to just try and use the holds and the hook combo. Might get to Winston here.
Oh,
they got
Winter. Winter deleted there by Noz. Great work.
That's what you want. That's the whole reason they're going to pick those characters. They're not using them for the rest of the round. They just want to get that pick, get that free little bit of push. Maybe. I mean, I don't think it realistically makes too much difference for Melbourne Mavericks on the defense, but it's kind of a little bit of BM as well in a way.
It is a little bit BM. It's a bit of a shame when you see all that ultimate charge, though, go to waste. When you swap off the Roadhog. But you've got to understand why. You see the payload already underneath the bridge. Nox here. Going to get healed up. The double sniper setup coming out here from Blank has serious potential to cause trouble. Squishies on Melbourne's side as well, particularly need to be very, very careful. Well, there's no squishy targets. They're going to try and take on the big guys, but they have a little bit less impact. Nami finds Morton as well, but the payload, you can see, has gotten so far already.
Yeah,
Georgia says it doesn't really count, but I think it really now puts Blank just one fight away from victory.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Infrasight is on for Nox now as well, so Melbourne Mavericks need to be careful. Melbourne Mavericks just caught a little bit, catching Blank a little bit out of position in that last one. Not quite grouped up enough.
Gusto,
this time though,
goodbye. Roro combines there with Morton to do some damage. Dragon Strike comes through, looking to catch someone out, going to force the Transcendence from Forbles. And Melbourne really need to hold here for the EMP and Winston's ulti coming out as well, the Primal Rage. They do that for now, but nothing has been popped yet. That's a nice little play. Going to catch them out. The payload going to be stalled for now. Half done, half to go.
Yeah, very nicely done from Melbourne Mavericks thus far. You start to get a sense of maybe a little bit of hope where they're building up those ultimates. They're winning these fights pretty convincingly with an EMP in their back pocket for the next one. I can see it taking really almost the entire 1 minute and 50 here for Blank if they actually do cap it up. This next fight should definitely go the way of Melbourne Mavericks. So Blank are going to be against the wall shortly.
Looking for a very big EMP and throws it out right in the thick of things. You can see half the team caught out, half the team still fine. But Tongue does have that Transcendence available. Will it be enough to make something here? Do Blank really go out and contest? Nox with the Infrasight, but will go down right as it's used there to Gusto self-destruct. But Nozgura going to do work. Nox picked up. Now that Widow back into the battle. Do Blank decide to contest here? Well, the Dragon Strike comes through looking for picks. The payload's forced its way back a little bit here as well, with no one on the payload to make anything of it here for Blank, as you hear 60 seconds remains. But I can't help but believe that Blank will come through in the end, as they seem to have been doing time and time again, Jordan. And now Mini is down. This is going to make life very difficult for the Melbourne Mavericks. Self-destruct available here from Noz. Gusto almost picked up, but Bauble saves for the day. Mini swapped across as well to the Wrecking Ball. Noz finds Winter, even though he has been D-Mech. 30 seconds on the clock. Tongue going down to Mini. Primal Rage not yet used by Morton. What do you do here, Jordan? What's the play?
For both teams, it's pretty important that either they get a good EMP or Blank avoids the EMP here. 17 seconds. This could be it for Melbourne Mavericks if they can follow up on it.
Yeah, 4 plays in the
but
EMP.
They can't.
They need to do some damage. For now, Blank just holding out, going to try and contest one more fight. Baubles has gone down to Noz. We may not see Baubles back in the fight today. Dragon Strike comes through. No one can even get onto the payload. It's forced Mini to pile drive in on top, and he'll go down almost immediately. Blank pushing through, looking good. Noz also has the self-destruct to clear out their opponents, and that's going to do the job. Blank pick up Watch Point Gibraltar and lock themselves in a 3-1 victory up against the Melbourne Mavericks. Melbourne. That was a bit close.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think at the end there, Melbourne Mavericks really needed to get some value out of that EMP. It was a good EMP, but it didn't have the follow-up. So that was sort of the win condition, it felt like, for Melbourne Mavericks. Once that EMP didn't get value, you kind of saw Blank Esports. They had self-destruct there, they had Transcendent, they were able to push on comfortably, and that pick as well coming out from the Widowmaker. So it's all sort of rolled into one nice little ball there for Blank Esports right at the end. And as I said, it was going to take a little while because they're rotating through the ults for Melbourne Mavericks on defense. But eventually, Blank get it done. Get the 3-1. I think all in all, you got to say it just felt like Melbourne Mavericks today was a little bit unprepared for what they were going up against with Blank. Whether it was because they didn't know that they were going to be going up against compositions like this, or whether it was because they're under-practiced against compositions like this. Whatever the case was, Blank it almost feels like found a winning formula this season, where they're kind of doing something a little bit different to everyone else. It's catching everyone off guard, and they're being able to make it work.
Yeah, I think it's just about right, Jordan. Right, for so long, we've seen variation of GOATs v GOATs, and that's all that we have had to deal with. And when you go up against a team that's bringing out double sniper, you know, triple DPS or something, there's all these other variations that one reason or another people have not been wanting to play, but this Blank lineup is very good at it, and up against a team at least of Melbourne's caliber, Blank certainly feel a little bit comfortable there. So congratulations to them. A 3-1. To be fair, that's what I threw out this morning and said that maybe we'd expect to see. But it very easily could have been a 4-0. And I guess on the same side, it could have been 2-2 right now. So a couple of maps very much in the balance. But Blank will come out with the victory and probably lock themselves into 3rd spot. For me, the positives for Blank coming out today is that I feel like in Season 3 2018, we had expectations for Blank. They're in the team house, etc., etc. And I don't really feel like it lived up to those expectations.
Absolutely not.
So
no, you don't need to dance around the issue. They didn't do what they needed to do that season, but they're coming back this season with a vengeance.
That's exactly right.
And that is really good to see. You know, Blank, I think it was disappointing. I mean, I know it was disappointing across the board. There was jokes and memes about the gaming house, and obviously that's all going to be weighing on the shoulders of Blank, but I think they've come back in this season and really knuckled down and put in that hard work, and they're showing the fruits of their labor. I'm really excited to see how Blank, with these kinds of compositions and this playstyle, is going to go up against teams like Sydney Drop Bears and teams like Order, because that's where we're really going to see the boys separated from the men.
We certainly will, Jordan, and of course the women from the girls, I suppose. Also let's go and check how Maccas play the game. Alrighty, McDonalds Australia play of the game. Blank Esports up against the Melbourne Mavericks. It's going to be Roro. It could have been Roro on any number of heroes here today. It just happens to be on Widowmaker.
Yeah, this was a pretty nice passage of play. Always cool to see the Widows. We get into slow-mo at the end as well. Alright.
I love it.
Go again.
Boof. Oh, misses that one. Oh. Boof. Oh, missed that one too. Oh. Boom! There we go, got that one. All right, look, it's 3 good plays. And to be fair, honestly, I think we could have gone back and picked any number of Roro plays today instead. That's our Maccas play of the game, whether it was at the start of the match, They're on Nepal, on the Farah, whether it's halfway through, they're on the Widow. Who knows? Roro was just great today.
I feel like Nox is going to be feeling pretty hard done by after that as well, because he had a few pretty nice EMPs out there. I thought Blizzard's World in particular was really Nox with the Sombra causing a lot of problems. And it's kind of hard to quantify in one single play, right?
Yes.
But if you were to put together like a montage or something, then definitely you'd be seeing some of that Sombra stuff in the mix there. But all in all, end of the day, doesn't matter. Blank gets the win, 3-1.
They do indeed.
They almost now, I think, kind of secure themselves in third place. I don't really see any of the other teams being able to challenge them. I mean, outside of Order, outside of Sydney Drop Bears. So that's a really good position to be in for Blank